Welcome to the KO Boxing Show. Haven't we got a massive show tonight? Undefeated, #1 contender, George Kambosos, all the way from Sydney. Welcome to the KO Boxing Show, George.
It's a pleasure to be on, Pete. Looking forward to chatting.
Mate, you're also top 5 in the world with the WBO as well. You've got the IBF Eliminator up against Lee Selby. How's your training coming along for that?
Look, training's been real well. Obviously, we're going for a tough period in the world with COVID. But, I've been training very hard. I'm always in the gym. I'm always staying ready. I'm always perfecting my craft. So, even if there's been a delay on the fight, 2 times, and we have the October 3rd date set now, nothing's really changed for me. I'm training hard. I'm getting ready. And, I'll be ready to do the business against Lee Selby.
And we'll be looking forward to that. It's October 3rd. It's at Cardiff. So you're fighting him in his own backyard, which is old school warrior mentality. And the promoter's Eddie Hearns. So it's Eddie Hearns' boy. So you kind of realise that you're going in and you're not really their favourite boy. You're going to go in there to shake things up and take what you want, right?
Well, look, it doesn't matter where the fight is. Obviously it's set in Cardiff, but if the fight was in Australia or in America or wherever it is, I'm there to knock him out. I'm there to make a big statement. I'm there to shake up the division and become the mandatory #1 in the world. We're here to make a big statement in this fight.
He's a former world champion. Talking about former world champions, you defeated Mickey Bay. And, he was a massive, huge talent. That was a great win, and that was right at the end of last year. How was it fighting Mickey Bay on a big stage in America?
It was a great fight. Mickey Bay is a technician. Mayweather's good fighter. He was with Floyd for 15 years. One of his world champions. So these are the kind of names we wanted. When we were in the US and obviously preparing for this fight, 8 weeks beforehand, his name popped up and we said, yep, we want him. He was in camp with Richard Comey, so he was his main sparring partner. The man was ready. The man came to fight, and for him, this was his world title fight. To get back inside the ratings and get inside that eliminator. So to do what we did in his backyard, in his home, to take him out in impressive fashion, is a big testament to what we're doing on the world scene. And we're chasing marquee names, and we're chasing former world champions and world champions, and that's why we're so excited for this Lee Selby fight and what's to come after that.
What's it like dealing with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom? Have they been good to deal with?
Look, there's been no issues. My team, I have a very, very good team, through my managers, Peter Khan, and obviously my father advising everything, my promoter, Lou DeBello, but, my manager, Peter Khan, has been doing a great job, and they do all the talk over there, and they're working hard, and my father's working extremely hard over here on this side. So and for us, we're just focused on fighting. We're focused on dismantling Lee Selby and taking him out and getting rid of him.
Your father, Jim, is such a great man, and he's great for the sport of boxing, and he knows the sport inside out. You orchestrated a fight in Greece, in Athens. You fought Richard Penn, and that was in June 2019, just over a year ago. What was it like, the experience of going back to Greece and probably meeting old relatives and stuff like that, where it all begun? How did that feel for you?
Well, that was a thing we always wanted to do. The 3 things I wanted to do, I did all last year. So if you think the start of the year in 2019, to fight MGM Grand, we ticked that off the box. And then we always wanted to go back to Greece and hold a big fight over there, and obviously go back to our Greek heritage. The fight there was incredible. And obviously the last fight, MSG, Madison Square Garden, New York. Every fighter wants to fight there. But going back to the Greece fight, it was an incredible feeling to be in Greece, to be fighting, in front of such patriotic, supporters. And, when I came out, to the fight and with the Greek music, you had, so many of the Greeks there, they were crying. They couldn't believe I was there. And, it's such a, world-class fighter, elite fighter coming back home to fight there was incredible. And, they were loving it. I promised them, I will bring a world title fight there as well, as I will to Australia.
That's fantastic. Also, let's go over sparring Manny Pacquiao, because, it's a dream come true for any fighter to get in the ring with Manny Pacquiao. But, you did 2 or 3 preps with Manny, and it's hard work because you've got to go in there 2-3 times a week and spar, one of the best pound-for-pound legends in the sport. What did you learn from sparring Manny Pacquiao?
Well, Manny's an incredible guy, incredible fighter, all-time great. 3 world title campaigns together, over 250 rounds. I've traded leather back and forth. He's super fast, super explosive, but so am I. So people would have paid big money just to watch, me and Pacquiao go back and forth. But the competitive nature that we both have, he could see a younger version of himself in myself. For me, he's an idol of mine, a guy that's done it all, that's been there. So, we push each other very hard, and the small 1% things that I've learned from him, in world title, campaigns and training camps. And I'm ready for my 12-round world title training camps now. And I've seen the 1% things that he did. To be around him for the 3 world title campaigns has been very beneficial for my career, and it was a huge step in my career. But now it's time for myself to become that world champion. Like he said, look, you're ready for a world title. You're going to be a world champion.
That's great, George. What was it like running with Manny? Because he's a very good runner. Could you keep up with him in the runs?
No, I run very fast as well. So, like I said, very competitive between him and myself. We led the pack, and we pushed each other every time we ran. We ran up the mountains and hills, and when we done the track work, we pushed each other. It's two hungry fighters, and to see how hungry he is when he's done everything in boxing, he's won so many divisions, world titles in so many divisions. To see the hunger he has still at the back end of his career, it was incredible for my career, and to see that side of things, the passion he has for the sport and the pride he brings to his country. Exactly what I want to do with my nations, Australia and Greece. That's the pride, and I want to fight for both countries.
Okay, let's go over the Wales fight, and that's October 3rd. When do you plan to arrive in Cardiff? When have you got dates set? Would that be 2 weeks before? And who'll be training you for the fight?
Look, I have my head coach, Javier Centeno. We'll be back in the US preparing. And look, we'll head over about 2.5 weeks. Look, there's still a few obstacles to see what's going to happen now with getting to the UK. But, for us, we're focused on October 3rd. And that's the date that Eddie Hearn's put out there. And that's the date that we're preparing for. So the camp will be in the US. We have a full camp. We have great sparring partners. And this is a massive fight, not only for myself, but for the whole of Australia. And this is the biggest fight, for any fighter this year in Australia. This is a world title eliminator against another former world champion in his backyard. And if you look at the other side of what happens once we take out Lee Selby, Lomachenko and Lopez is sitting right next. So if we look at it, Lomachenko beats Lopez, and obviously I'm doing my business against Lee Selby. That's squaring off. And look, Bob Arum's he's very interested to bring a fight back to Australia. He had already stated it last year, Kambosos Lomachenko. So it's all the stars are aligning, and I can already see now 60,000, supporters, Australian sporting fans, fight fans, Greeks, either in Melbourne or Sydney. I get goosebumps thinking about it. But we know what we've got to do against Lee Selby first, and then everything's going to align.
You kind of read my mind. That was going to be the next question, because I interviewed Bob Arum about 3 weeks ago, and we went over a number of issues, and that is something that's definitely on the agenda. If Lomachenko wins and you win, Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, because Melbourne's got, I think, the second most populated Greek population in Australia, and I think there's 300,000 or 400,000 Greeks, and the crowd would be amazing if that was to happen. Is that what obviously you've got to get past Selby first. You get past Selby, but I think that's going to be real. You'll be fighting Lomachenko here in Melbourne. And
yeah, look, we both have jobs to do. I've got to take out Selby, which I will. I'm so hungry, I'm so focused for that fight. I literally just finished another hard, grueling training session, sprinted up and got on the interview with yourself. But we both got jobs to do, and we do our jobs correctly and right, which we will. There's nothing stopping this fight. It's a massive fight. This will be the biggest, fight in history in Australian boxing. This will be bigger than Pacquiao Horn. Now, what do they do? 45,000 people, 50,000. Take this to Marvel Stadium. This is 60, 65,000. Like you said, the Greek population, just alone in Melbourne is huge. The numbers are massive. So when you take such a patriotic Greek fighter, an Australian fighter, in myself, it's massive. It's huge, and we know what we can do. We can shock the world, and we truly believe we will.
Undefeated next world champion, George Kambosos Jr. Thanks for being on the show. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we sign you off?
Look, obviously thank all the support and the fans from Australia, from Greece, and all around the world. I have a massive social media following, and get these messages from all over the world, countries I've never even heard of. So I appreciate the support, and we're very focused and hungry on the job we have at hand with our next fight and what's aligning in the next couple fights. So keep watching, keep supporting, keep focusing on what we're doing, and thank you, Pete, for obviously this interview as well.
We're looking forward to your fight. And I hope Foxtel and all the media outlets here in Australia bring it back live to us, because as fans, we deserve to see these kind of fights. And I'm sure Eddie Hearn, he's got deals with all the networks, so I'm pretty sure we'll be getting it back in Australia.
Kambosos Jnr fight is scheduled obviously on the Zone USA and Sky Sports, and pretty sure Fox Sports will be picking that up as well. And look, it's great to get that mainstream media. We've been recently getting a lot of it, and I mean, when you've got the best fight in Australia, the pound for pound #1 right here, on the verge of all-time greatness, you've got to have this mainstream media behind you and supporting you. So appreciate the support from the mainstream media as well.
Thank you, George. Looking forward to interviewing you next as a world champion.
100%.
Thank you.